So welcome. This is Sun River Chambers lunch at home and learn, Zoom and learn. We're changing the name as we go, but you're very welcome here today. And first thing I wanted to say is thank you to the Chamber, to Kent and Sue Elliott and John Holland and Aaron Schofield for asking me to provide some stress relief ideas and techniques during this pretty stressful time in our world today. And I had some stress last week. Good thing I have some tools because I thought I knew Zoom better than I did and had some glitches. And what I found is I really just need to let those kind of things go. You know, it's not brain surgery, and I just am glad to be here, and I think I've got some better handle on Zoom this time. So this is the topic today about stress relief with a very valuable tool called acupressure point tapping today. We're going to be doing these talks Tuesday at noon Pacific. If you need the link, it will always be in the Chamber newsletter or on my website at stressrelievers.com/lunch-learn. And you're free to take pictures of the links because I've got a couple of links to share with you today. So also, let me show you one thing here. That I have everyone muted now that I figured out how to do that. I'm going to pause every once in a while to ask questions, or to answer your questions rather, or if you have comments. And here's the thing I learned last week. Everybody's got a different device, a different, iPad, a Droid, etc. Your controls will be in different places. That's what was confusing to me. And they will also be different than what I see on my screen, on my laptop. So that's fun. You have the capacity to show your video or not, just be on audio, and to unmute yourself. I've got everyone muted at the moment to keep, dogs barking down and so forth. You also have the capacity to change of how many videos you see off to the side. So, and all of these recordings will be recorded on my site. The chat room is a great place to ask questions. You can either ask them of everyone or just me privately by seeing that down arrow there. And that's cool. So my name's Judy Cameron, and this is my business, Stress Relievers Now. And I come from the world of medical research, OB medical research. And what I found was that women weren't getting the preventative help they needed to take care of their health. And what I specialize in are three topics: posture, good posture and fitness. We're going to be talking about that next week, also known as biomechanics. Today we're going to be talking about acupressure point tapping, also known as EFT, which stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. But actually, this technique is ancient. It wasn't just developed in the 70s. And last week we spoke about Qigong, really important energy tool that you can use to keep your system in top shape. Today we're going to learn how to literally tap into our body, mind, qi wisdom. And qi is the Chinese word for universal loving intelligence that we have running through us. And I'm excited to share this with you because you can either develop it, or if you already know something about it, you can strengthen your connection to this life wisdom. And that's what this tool, as well as Qigong, will do for you. Move that over. Now here's something really fascinating to me. This is traditional Chinese medicine philosophy or concepts. And they discovered thousands and thousands of years ago that our organs store unprocessed chronic negative emotions. And this is what the tool that we're going to use today is going to help us with. Our lungs, the white representation of a lung there, they store sadness and grief. If we don't dissolve those emotions, if we don't do different things like tapping to help process them and move them along, they're stored in the lungs. The heart stores extremes of too much excitement to lack of love. So the heart is about love and caring, and whether or not we're giving enough of it to ourselves if someone else or our families haven't given it to us. The stomach stores worry. And I know lots of people who have had ulcers, and they are in the stomach, and often it's caused by worry. So there's a point on the side of our bodies we'll be tapping on specifically for the stomach. We're going to tap on a lot of points to cover all of these organs. The liver stores anger, and the kidneys store fear. And what I have always found interesting in my family is that my mother only had one functioning kidney. And I believe it was because she was in the Blitz in London at the age of 7 or 8. And she was evacuated. She was the only child sent off to the country without her parents. And I think that affected her liver, or excuse me, her kidney. So if you notice the colors here, white, this is more advanced, but I thought you might enjoy knowing it. White is the healing color for the lungs, pink or red for the heart. So when you want to go deeper into healing some of these emotions, you can know this chart, take a picture of it. And as you're processing your emotions, you can remember these colors that go with these different organs. Stomach, healing color is yellow. Anger, the healing color is green. Kidneys, the deep blue. Isn't that interesting? Now, in my opinion, this is how we're born. We come in with full flowing chi, and it's full of joy and fun and a sense of playfulness and exploration, creativity, exploration of just how life works. And, you know, life does come along. This is our natural, innate state. I just said that, but it's full chi, full life force. Chi, life force, same thing. And life comes along, and different cultures, different families. Sometimes my family certainly taught me that I was much less than that full potential. And I think this is where our hurt and pain comes from, that we sometimes hold on to for a long time until we learn something as valuable as tapping. And you're going to learn how to do it, and you'll have it for the rest of your life. You know, as kids, psychologists tell us that we're just soaking up whatever our families or society or our teachers tell us, and we don't have a filter. So we believe that we are not good enough, or that we'll never be a doctor, or we'll never, my dad said, you know, ladies don't ride motorcycles. You know, okay, so I believed it. And just some funny things were taught. And tapping is a great way to release our chi blocks and any of these limitations. That's why I'm so excited to share it with you. I also thought you might be interested to know the origin of acupuncture and ergo acupressure. It was developed on the battlefields in ancient China, and the Chinese doctors kept very good records of their soldiers. And for example, that's supposed to be a stomach. I know it looks like a peanut, but that's a stomach. And the soldiers that had stomach problems that went out to battle, and of course at the time there were arrows, right? And say they were shot in their right knee and they recovered. The doctors found that they also did not have stomach problems anymore. And they kept this map of all these different issues that they had and where they were injured. And it became the map of the energy lines or the meridians and how you can press on certain, or certainly insert needles into certain points and clear the blockages of these unprocessed emotions that will allow you to return to full health. I find that fascinating. So if you have any concerns at all about learning this new technique outside of Western medicine, please just talk to your doctor. Just watch today, see what you think. I have found it really fascinating. So the tool, so last week we talked about Qigong, which is a mind-body practice from ancient China. And what several colleagues and I studied in the 80s, I guess. Gary Craig was his name. He was a Stanford engineer, and he took this information, modernized it, and gave it the name emotional freedom techniques. But when I started to study Qigong, I realized, oh no, this is much, much more ancient, and it's something you can do yourself. So if you have a severe memory, like I don't know, you went down in a plane crash or something, you might want some help with that. But moderate to less traumatic injuries, you can start taking care of yourself. I'll show you how in a minute. So these are the energy lines that they discovered, that map I was talking about. And do you notice on the graph on the right, they are color-coded by that healing color. Each line goes to a different organ system, and the colors represent that healing color. If you have ulcers and you're tapping on maybe the pain of an ulcer, you can also be bringing in the healing color of yellow into your mind's eye. And I liken it to the London Underground. I mean, how perfect is this? It's trains going to different directions, have different colors, and each train stop is equivalent to an acupressure point that you're going to be fingertip tapping on. And when we tap and maybe breathe deeply, we're starting to release that stuck emotion so that you can be in good health. That's what this is all about. And I can't think of a better example than the chi or life force gets blocked just like a king toes. And tapping, you may remember this slide from last week, but Qigong too, tapping and Qigong both help us open these blocked energy channels. And as I said last week, the number one cause of our chi getting stuck are these emotions and memories, painful memories that we haven't released. And I'm going to mention something about traditional talk therapy too in a second, because just talking about it isn't as good as doing something physical like this, acupuncture, acupressure, etc. Now, these are some pretty important studies. I'll go through them really quickly, but just so you know, these are from the National Library of Medicine. The National Institutes of Health are the people that paid me for 30 years in OB research. Some studies on, they call it EFT, emotional freedom techniques, but it's acupressure point tapping, same thing. 1 hour. How many? 83 people tapping for an hour with a coach. Their stress hormones went down. Stress hormone cortisol went down in 1 hour. That's pretty good. Now these guys and gals were veterans with PTSD. They had a reduction in pain, depression, and anxiety, about 60 of them. They received 6 sessions of tapping. Pain went down 41%. Here's what's even better. Followed up 3 to 6 months later, definitely as their PTSD symptoms came down, mental health improved and pain levels dropped. So these are scientific studies that are out there now. This one almost makes me want to cry because my dad was definitely had PTSD, but they didn't know what that was in World War II. And it's why I went to the local Band of Brothers where I live and gave a talk about the value of tapping. And I just hope they start using it because it's this effective. 90% of the EFT group, tapping group, no longer had PTSD after 6 one-hour sessions. We don't have a lot of drugs that are that effective. So that's how powerful this technique is. Here's another one that's relevant to our virus condition today. Research shows, and I'll show you the gentleman who did the research in a second, that positive emotions raise our immunoglobulin or antibody levels, while stress and fear lower them. So our positive emotions and our high immunoglobulin are associated with reduced rates of respiratory tract infection. Great. Next. This study shows that a combination of tapping and eco meditation, I'll give you the link to that in just a second, raised our antibody levels 113% in 1 week. So please be tapping. Another study, 2 days, up 27%. Eco meditation is defined, I guess the first time I heard it was Joe Dispenza's work. It's basically a meditation where you go out into the universe in your mind's eye and you fill yourself up with this full potential of good health and loving energy that heals in combination with tapping. It's dramatic, clearly. This is Dawson Church. He's a PhD. He did this research, and I wanted to share this link on YouTube. Just take a picture of it or email me and I'll send it to you. It's a meditation combining tapping with the concept of pulling in your universal connection to source energy. Really good one. I thought you might like it. So let's look at these energy points that we're going to tap on today. We'll start with the karate chop point here. Can you see it at the bottom left of the screen? The easiest way to get these is to cross your hands like so and begin tapping them together like that. Both karate chop points together. And if you take some slow, deep breaths while you're tapping, I'll show you how to use these points in just a second. Then there's a certain pattern I go through. Don't worry about it. We'll do it several times so you'll get the hang of it. And remember, this is going to be recorded. So between the eyebrows, sometimes there are 2 points and sometimes there's just one. But here we have 2 points on the inside edge of the eyebrows. And you're just tapping with your 2 or 3 fingers in there. Not too hard, but not too lightly either, whatever feels comfortable to you. On the outside of the eyes, on the temples, tap, tap, tap. And I'll come in for a second to ask any, if you have any questions, so don't worry about that. Under the eyes, under the pupils, on the top of the cheekbones here. Again, each of these points is connected to a different organ system. So it's a good idea to tap through all of these points when you have something come up that's stressing you. One hand under the nose, one under the lip, on the chin, one hand. And then under the collarbones, here, the inside edge of the collarbones. Tap, tap, tap. Back away for a second. So then under the arms, 4 or so inches under the arms. You can also cross in front of your body like this, if that's easier for you. 2 points under the chest, on the torso. Obviously, this is where the liver is, but there are 2 liver points. So we tap on both of them. And then next, we have the wrist points, which are really important. 3 points, inside, middle, and outer. Sort of where your wristwatch, mine's fallen down a bit, but about there. And the easiest way to get all of those together at one time is to imagine holding a ball. Softball would be more accurate. A softball in your bottom palm, and cover the softball with your top hand. And then you're getting all 6 points at once. And see if you can relax your shoulders at the same time. So you're letting your arms hang. You're not causing more tension in your body. And finally, 1 or both hands on the top of the head. And those are the points. And now you know them. And again, feel free to take a photo, or if you'd rather, I can send you a copy by email too. So my email will be at the end. Just to recap, to make it easy, there are 2 parts to tapping. One is to tap and feel the emotions of the painful memory, and you bring your stress down around those painful emotions. And then number 2, you'll do more rounds to insert what you'd rather have. So if your main emotion to release is anger, you'll be tapping in something around the opposite, like peace of mind or calm or clarity, something like that. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Now, tapping is not going to have you not remember the memory again, but what it is going to do is bring down the charge or the stress of that memory. And it does work so much better than just talking traditional, going to a psychologist or psychotherapist, because you're doing the clearing work with these energy lines. It works so much better, clearing our blockages. Now you might want to take a photo of this slide. This is the general formula. While we're tapping, we're going to be starting with tapping on the karate chop points and saying this phrase. It's called the setup phrase. I'm going to bring my hands down to my chest, but I'm still tapping. You might like to follow along. And you don't have to speak out loud to have this work. You can be thinking your stress. I used to go to the restroom at work and really think it out because I didn't want my boss to walk in, into the restroom and hear me. It works just as well. So here's the phrase. Even though I have this negative feeling, whatever it's going to be for you, about this specific event. In other words, not all the anger I felt my entire life. That does not work as well as tapping on, say, your anger about a specific event. And it can be yesterday or 40 years ago, doesn't matter. Even though I have this negative feeling about this specific event, I'd like to feel a positive feeling. I'd like to care about myself enough to do this work, something positive, yeah? And what I'm going to ask you to do in a second is think of a memory. And again, not the one where you were in a plane crash, not the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to you, but to give it a stress number. 10 would be maximum, 0 would be no stress at all. And what we tend to do is think, as we're tapping on the emotion and that specific event, you start to tune in to how you're feeling. And some of us women are generally better at this than men. That's just what we're taught in our society. to tap into the feelings. But, you know, if I could go back in time, I would ask my dad to do tapping. I didn't know about it. He had so much trauma in his body. I would give anything to go back and help him release that. So 10 to 8, somewhere in there, and you're just going to guesstimate it. We're just going to tap on the feeling of anger, if that's what it is. Tap, tap the anger when that happened. Then you may notice as you tap, most people do a few deep breaths, it starts to not be as intense. And so when your stress number is between 7 and 4, this is the general formula, mind you, I'd really like to let this go, this anger go. It starts to drop further. Between 3 and 0, you can start to say phrases like, I choose to have relief. I choose to feel calm again. I choose to feel centered, whatever it might be for you. And then ideally we get to a 0. I'm not guaranteeing you'll get there today, but you will as you practice this. You can say positive present time phrases like I tapping through, oh man, I'm happy. And what you're doing is you're ingraining new neural pathways, new nerves in your brain that are going to take this new blueprint and start to create it for you with practice. You let go of the trauma, you start to ingrain the positivity and the peace of mind that you're looking for. That's why I'm so excited to share this with you. So that said, if you'll think of a specific event that you'd like to tap on, specific memory, what it was that upset you, and you'll start to use your imagination. It'll start, the more you practice this, memories will just start to pop up. It gets easier and easier. Can you pinpoint what was happening in your mind's eye? I'll use the example of being reprimanded or criticized, shall we say, in a business meeting in front of colleagues. That's a good one. And I'll say that I'm that person and I'm embarrassed, off kilter. I'm feeling reprimanded. So I'm sitting at the table, I see the other people, see my boss standing up there, he's criticized me, and how I feel is embarrassed. That would be a good example. The feelings are the most important part. If you can get to those, tapping works extraordinarily well. Some common feelings: embarrassment, sadness, anger, disappointment, frustration, yeah. So if you think about that memory, and remember this is going to be recorded, so you'll be able to use it again and again. You can just scroll through to get just to this point. What is your stress number around that memory today? Give it a number. Just give you a second to do that. And even if you don't have a specific memory at this moment, that's okay. Just go through the process with me. So we're taking our karate chop points together. And you fill in the blanks with your unique situation. Yeah, your story, your memory, your feeling. Even though I have whatever the feeling is about this event, and describe it, at least in your mind's eye. When so-and-so did this or that, I'd like to let it go and have what? What feeling would you rather have? Let's do it another time. Even though I have this feeling about this specific event, boy, I'd really like to let it go. I'd rather have this positive feeling. Excellent. I'll come in for questions in a minute here. So even if your stress number is a 6, let's pretend it was a 10 to 8, just so you can get the process down. If it was anger, follow along between the inner eyebrows. Anger when Joe criticized me. That would be a summary phrase, shall we say. And you just repeat it. Anger when Joe criticized me. But what is it for you? You can close your eyes. I'll speak out the points. Just follow along. Under the eyes, on the cheekbones, your feeling about what happened. Anger when my boss criticized me. But of course, what it is for you. Under the nose, same thing. Just repeat it. That feeling. The chin, that feeling when so-and-so did that thing. Under the collarbones, some slow, deep breaths, very helpful to release that old stuck chi. That feeling when that happened. Under the arms, anger, sadness, frustration, whatever. When that happened. Under the chest, on the torso. That feeling. Tapping the wrists, letting your shoulders drop. Your feeling when that thing happened. Top of the head. Getting all the organ systems here. Just really tuning in. So our minds maybe want to go off into the next feeling, the next worst thing, and oh my God, and then I got to do laundry, and then what am I going to do tomorrow? Just keep coming back to that feeling of this memory, top of the head. Let's do one more round. Imagining it's a 10 to 8. When so-and-so did that, I felt this way, and it hurt me. Outside of the eyes, that feeling, I can still feel it. If you can notice where in your body you feel it, like butterflies in the stomach or tightness in the throat, all the better. Under the eyes, that negative feeling, when that happened. Just breathing, doing really well. Under the nose, that feeling, that negative feeling. And if tears are coming, if you're sweating, if you're getting more angry, good, you're getting it out. Keep tapping the chin, breathing, that negative feeling when that happened. Under the collarbones. Collarbones are connected to the lungs, which again are about sadness and grief. But it is better to tap through all the points to clear your sadness and grief. Under the collarbones, that feeling. Again, under the arms, tuning into that feeling. You can cross your arms in front of you again. Breathing deeply. In Chinese medicine, we are able to exhale our pain with our breath, with our exhale. Tapping under the chest. The negative feeling when that happened. On the wrists, same thing. Keep coming back to that one memory. Your mind is probably want to go to some other memories, but we're just doing this one memory right now. Relax your shoulders, that negative feeling. When the boss criticized me in front of all these people, top of the head. This negative feeling when that certain thing happened. Good, and then just give your arms a break for a minute. Being with that. Now, a lot of us will come down in our stress level. If you're between a 7 and a 4, if you're not, you would normally keep tapping until you do start to feel some relief, but we'll pretend that you're between 7 and 4 so you can get the process under your belt. Let's go again, between the inner eyebrows. I am tired of this. And these are just examples of what might come to you to say. Outside the eyes, I'd like to let it go, but I can't. Under the eyes. This pain, this memory, whatever has been with me so long. Under the nose. Often people are thinking, and they've been honest enough to tell me over the years that this isn't going to work. Tapping is stupid. Oh my God, what am I doing? This can't possibly work. And yet there's data to back it up. Just letting that voice come up if it comes up. Moving to the chin. God, but I do want to be free of this pain, this painful memory. Under the collarbones. What if this did work? What if this did work? Under the arms, what if I could let go of this pain? This practice has been around for 7,000 years. The US has been around for 240 years. Western medicine less than that. Tapping under the chest. I'd really like to let this old painful memory not hold me captive any longer. It's time to let it go. I'm under the chest here. Did I do the wrists? I can't even remember. Let's go to the wrists. I'm willing to let this go. Or if it's more truthful, you've got to be authentic. I'd like to be willing to let this go. This pain out of my body, this humiliation, this frustration, this overwhelm, this unknown, the unknown where we are in our time in human history right now is a big one. It's scary. I have to let go of this scariness of the unknown. Top of the head. I think I can do this. I think I can do this. And you would do several rounds. You would do several rounds coming up with your insights about what's true for you to say. So let me stop sharing for a moment. Come back on. I'm going to suggest that you either come in on the chat if you like, or unmute yourself if you have a question. It's okay if you don't have a question, but I'm here for you if you do. Just let me know. And feel free, by the way, to email me, Judy, Judy, at judycameron.com if you'd rather ask me privately too. So, okay, very good. We'll go back to the slides. Awesome. So, moving along to when your stress number comes down to somewhere you're guessing between a 3 to a 1, somewhere in there. Now, this is why you've done this practice. It's to get to this place where you can start to insert the joyful, positive feelings you'd rather have. So someone does have a chat here. Let's see what the question is. Can you also use this to release feelings that seem like blockages to trust and unforgiveness? Absolutely, yes. Whatever is up for you is what you are going to be tapping on. So I would tap on, for example, I don't trust. I don't have faith in the universe, my parents, or whatever it is, whatever's true for you, or the government, or my social security check, or that my job will keep going, whatever. And unforgiveness. If you'd like to clarify unforgiveness of yourself or someone else, it almost doesn't matter really. You just tap on, I don't forgive. I can't forgive myself. Usually we're pretty directed toward hurting ourselves, right? I was beating myself up for, a minute last week when I couldn't get Zoom to work very well. Let it go. It's not that important to hold on to that self-flagellation. So either way, I'd say, got it. Thanks for replying. Appreciate it. So moving back to, go back the other way. Oh, gotta click it and then do it. Here we go. Back again. See what I mean? 3 to 1. Here we go. So between 3 to 1, this is where you can choose to have your positive experiences. And this is where you're going to start ingraining the positivity blueprint that you want to have happen. I'll come back to the chat room in a sec. Or you could say something like, I'd like to have. If it still seems too pie in the sky, I'd like to have, gosh, I'd like to have this new positive. In the scenario I was talking about in the conference room, I'd like to have the ability to have criticism just wash over me. It's just somebody else's opinion. You know what I mean? Or I deserve to have. So let me see what the question is. Got it. Thank you. Okay, so let's take your scenario and have a moment, close your eyes, and think about what you would rather have happen. Should this kind of thing happen again, or just if you've had a painful, traumatic experience, you'd like to feel peace instead. You'd like to feel resolved. You'd like to feel that the lessons learned, or there maybe is a deeper spiritual lesson or lesson, I don't know, but whatever the positive feeling is you'd like to have. So let's do a round there between the eyebrows. I choose to have resilience, might be the example in my conference room example. What is it for you? Choose to have peace of mind. Under the eyes, I choose to have this positive experience instead. The more you practice this, the more you're going to have a new blueprint in your neural blueprint in your brain to make it more familiar to have this positive experience. Under the nose, I'd like to have the same feeling perhaps, or a slightly different variation of. Breathing deeply. At the chin, I deserve to have this positive feeling. Under the collarbones, inside edge of the collarbones, I'd really like to have peace of mind, joy. I deserve under the arms to have joy be my primary blueprint. Under the chest, on the liver points. I choose to have joy or peace, whatever it is for you. On the wrists, I choose to have. Top of the head, I deserve to have. And when you're doing this, again, on your own, you will be able to go deeper with this when you don't feel like you're on stage here. Some common feelings I've found humans want is to feel wanted, to feel loved, heard, seen, successful, fulfilled was such a big one for me. I didn't feel fulfilled in the lab, but I do now. Appreciated, hopeful, accomplished, happy, all of it. Be in the flow of life, do what I love, be with people I love. So those are examples that you can insert. You'll have your own, obviously. Now at 0, when you just feel neutral, you feel like the stress has been melted away, you can start to insert present time positive experiences. Present time positive experiences. I have joy. Let's do a round. I have peace of mind. You may not feel it completely yet, and that's okay. You're ingraining this certainty that it shall be so, that it is, coming from the place of it is, which is the universal wisdom place that we're born with. I have. I am happy. Under the eyes, I am fulfilled. I am forgiving. I am forgiveness, perhaps. At the chin, I feel trust, perhaps. Under the collarbones, or I am trusting, or I am more and more trusting, whatever's authentic for you in the moment. And it will get deeper, and you will come to this place of being certain with practice, with time. So under the arms, I have, I am, whatever it is for you. Ingraining the feelings is the most important place to be. I am at peace under the chest, top of the head. I am trusting. I am loving. I have faith in this process, or that we will come out of this global situation with a bigger picture. Be hopeful, Beautiful. So that is the process of tapping. What I'd like you to be aware of, got 10 minutes just so you know I know what time it is, to avoid what is very common in the beginning with tapping, is we will say things like, man, I don't want pain anymore. No way, I'm not having anxiety anymore. That's not what you want to imprint. You want to imprint the I have, the I am, happy, safe, fulfilled, I feel secure, brave, free, etc. So just watch for that, because that, is common. And you may well want to jot down some insights, because these are worth their weight in gold. What your subconscious mind, what your soul, what your body has to tell you, this is what I specialize in. And getting to that place where you can hear the messages is so valuable. They will serve you so well. And here's one thing that I wanted to remember to say. If you found that your number was coming down 10, 9, 8, 7, and then it went up to a 10 again, like I said, it's often because your mind jumps to, as you bring down the stress of that painful memory, well, gosh, here's another one. It's a 10. You should look at this. Wah, 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 the lights come on. Just jot it down. Thank you. Thank you. You know, I used to beat them up. Stop. This isn't the way the process works. Just write it down and come to it another time. Be compassionate with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. And so tuning in to that original memory, what number would you give it now? And we had a nice amount of time there. Sometimes it does take longer. And I found another thing we like to do is compare ourselves to other people. When I was, my friend Laura is on, colleague with tapping is on the line, and we went through all these trainings with Gary Craig, who named it Emotional Freedom Technique. And some people would start tapping for like 2 rounds, and then their eyesight was better, and we're like, whoa, why didn't that happen for me? Try not to compare to anybody else. Just take good care of yourself. Yeah, that's the best way to go. I'll open it up again. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. And Laura, is that you?
Yeah. Hi, Judy.
Welcome, my buddy. I was just mentioning you. I'm so glad you're here.
This was amazing, Judy. You did such a wonderful job.
Thank you, buddy. You're my
Kind of
buddy.
big thing and breaking it down into these very important steps. And when you do this, and your slides are amazing, best I've ever seen.
Thank
It
you.
was amazing today. I mean, I know you and I work together, and we've done EFT a long time, but today I started with. It wasn't a lightweight problem, but I thought, well, but I've worked on that. It's not so bad, but suddenly got bad. I suddenly started feeling really despairing about it, and I'm kept tapping, and I watched the despair drain away. And I've had some health problems, and they've been a real challenge, and you've helped me so much. So this despair, I'm like, no, not again. I mean, I didn't get through that, and I'm like, just tap, just do what the girl's saying.
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah, and my mind wanted to do a number of things, and I'm like, that just tap on what's coming up, just tap on the thing you started with. It was despair, so keep going with that. And at the end, it was like this a sunlight burst in my chest, the sense of not just hope, like, oh, I hope I'll get fully recovered from this illness or whatever I have. It was like, I'm shining in the midst of this illness. And there's a sense of humor with that. It's like I've got a little secret now, like illness. I can thrive in spite of it, and because of it, and with it. It's like it's not an enemy anymore.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The same thing happened to me with Lyme disease, as you know. I had was bitten by a tick 10 years ago. And I've been pretty active most of my life, as you know. So it actually paralyzed my tendons, and they felt like they were on fire. And I just thought, this is the worst thing that can possibly happen to me. How am I supposed to live my life? I had tapping, and thank God I had Qigong, because I couldn't physically tap, but it's pretty advanced. I'd learned from my Qigong master and from the tapping community and I learned from myself, I had to do it in my mind's eye. I've imagined tapping on these points to help release my pain and the toxicity of the bacterial overload and whatnot. And long story short, it's now the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Because
that's really inspiring.
I can see that you can get beyond these horrific things. And that's all I'm supposed to be doing, is helping people use this tool and others to see that for themselves. Yeah, as you and I have done. A long way. God, we both have.
So long, yeah, so much, and so many people. I mean, you remember I got rid of vertigo I'd had for 10 years in 20 minutes of tapping at that first training we were at.
Yeah,
20 minutes.
I know. And I was envious. And this is the problem we have. It's like, well, why can't it happen to me? That quickly, and other things come along. But I believe, as you do, that there are different core soul or spiritual lessons that we get from it to come to the place of deeper understanding of the healing power of love. I guess I'd say that. Yeah.
I believe that too. It's been it's been revealed to me through the years that this love wants to be here more and more and more. And as that happens, the body can change.
Yeah. I think that's a beautiful message to communicate, Laura. I'm so glad you're here to say that, because it's easier when one person says it. I'm looking at oh, pardon me, Laura. I'm sorry, you can't see what I'm looking at. I pulled up the chat room again.
Go ahead.
Another question, yes. I noticed that you did the karate chop technique at the beginning only. Should we incorporate it in each tapping cycle, or only at specific points? I think the protocol is to do the tapping more often than I did today. So please use it whenever your intuition calls for it. I don't use it as much as I did when I first learned how to do it the right way, and it still works. So just so you know. Thanks for the question. So we're coming up on the end of the hour. I want to respect your time and surely appreciate you all being here. And remember that this is recorded. So let me go back to just to share one last thing. And oh, brother, I have a little trouble with that arrow. I'm starting a weekly tapping class again, be Wednesdays at noon, starting the 26th. And if you're interested, you can always take a picture, but that's the link on my website. And next week, we're going to be talking about the benefits of good posture. That's the third topic that I teach, because I found it to have so much body stress relief potential. But also, our body language speaks volumes to others around us, and we can make changes relatively quickly to say what we want to say, in fact. So feel free to send any questions or comments to my email, and it's been a real pleasure to have you here. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to the next time. Hope you're all well.
Judy. Bless you all.
Let's see. Thank you. Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for using that chat room. Appreciate it. Take good care. Closing out the meeting. See you next time. Well done, Sue. Bye.